I'm bad at painting, but I'm getting better. Well, hello there, I'm Detroit. Digital painting is so freaking hard. I mean, obviously, or else it wouldn't be fun and take years to practice. This is my attempt at drawing what I call the three-headed war god. When I started sketching this one out, I had a friend over and it made me forget to start the recording of my screen, which is sad because I really liked the sketching process. I went looking for references and I settled on a few images of Halo characters, Doom Eternal official art, but also Kratos from God of War, Vegeta from Dragon Ball, and Saint Seiya, as well as a manga called Noragami. A really broad inspiration range, and taking a bit of idea from each image. So that was the first sketching process, giving me this image here. But then I decided to switch to another approach that is useful for character design. You see, when designing a character, a person, you have to make it readable and recognizable. A simple way to do that is to work on the silhouette of the character. What I find useful is to take a large brush, all black, and paint in the silhouette. Then, removing the sketching, you can carve out the shape. Work the positive and the negative space. That's the kind of exercise I did in last week's digital video. Work from the outline, the silhouette. Anyway, this got me here. I'm showing you because it skips so fast in the beginning of the video, but it's one of the best parts of this process. In conclusion, this is a good idea to make an interesting shape. It is a nice way to build a strong foundation that you can rely on for the rest of the drawing. Or make something that you can ruin with your poor painting skills. Let's get to values work, shall we? Oh wait, no. First I wasted about an hour trying to add colors, but that was a bad idea. And the colors I picked were definitely not a good choice. So I scratched that out and started again. Values first. Values, if you're not aware, are the shades of grey, black and white of your piece. It's another good foundation because you can work out the contrast of the piece before going into detail. Decide where you want your light source, where you want to draw the eye to, and because it's easier to color in Photoshop after doing grayscale than the other way around. So my second approach was to refine the sketch with another sketching layer, with a bit more detail. To be honest, I chose to do that just because I watched a few of Pete Morbacher's drawing process videos. By the way, he's a really amazing artist. And I've been following him on Instagram for a really long time, and honestly his stuff is mind-blowing. And he always starts with the detailed sketch and work the values in there. The only difference between his process and mine is that he's really good, and I'm still more than a few years behind in terms of painting talent. Okay, enough self-deprecation. I'm learning. My values tend to easily blur together and give the impression of being too soft. That's my problem. It's too airbrushy. The more I work on them, the more the picture tends to lose contrast, so I need to go back with darker and lighter grays all the time. For this drawing, I should have spent more time on values before I started the painting over the sketch. Following the lines of the line art, or the sketch, you can go in with a smaller brush and render a bit on top of it. For something realistic, there's never a black line. In real life, you don't see a dark border around the piece of clothing, for example. Well, in a realistic drawing, it's the same. There's no outline, there's no line art. Only, that doesn't mean you should blend everything in a smooth gradient. That's another problem of mine. The different parts of the armor, for example, still have edges. That sort of stuff is called hard shadow versus soft shadows. Maybe I'm having problem with that because I'm going in too zoomed in from the start. Anyway, enough about that. It's already time for colors. I told you, I rushed it quite a lot. Here, I'm making a new layer with the color layer style. It allows you to add colors, but still keeping the values as they are. And also, I should disclaim that I don't know how to use that quite well enough yet. The thing is, it doesn't really matter if I know how to do it or not. Even by the end of this video, the drawing is not finished at all. You see, art is a very slow learning process, and you can't rush it. Sometimes you have a great picture in mind, but your skills are still a bit behind, and you can't fully realize it, no matter how much time you spend on it. I didn't bother painting over the whole sketching layer. If you zoom in on different parts of the body, you can see the rendering doesn't even exist in places. Because as soon as I realized I couldn't finish the piece at the way I wanted it, it just became another draft in my mind. Switching to colors allowed me to work on something else in the way I would do a study rather than attempt a full painting. And even then I didn't finish the coloring process. It's way too saturated and unrefined by the end. You see, there's no use adding decorations to a house whose foundations are shaky. A drawing is the same. If the previous step was not finished, you should not continue forward. You can either start over or work on something else. You can always go back to it later and improve it by going back to the step that went wrong. That might be the most important lesson in today's video, for you and me both. Now, the three-headed war god is just another file in a giant folder of unfinished pieces. I'm gonna get back to it at some point though. I have a lot of drawings in that folder that I sometimes get back to. When the time is right, and when I know I have learned something I didn't have before, then I can apply it to certain drawings and make them closer to how I envision them. All of that to say that maybe there will be a part 2 of this specific painting. Not next week, maybe not even in the next few months, but at some point I will finish it. The best way for you to know for sure is to follow me on my Instagram at d3_sd. That's where I post all my art. You can also hit me up on Twitter at d3. But more importantly, do subscribe to the D3 Variety channel and like this video. I'll see you in a few days. That was D3 and I'm out. Bye!